Hi everyone, this is Yumiko. Today I would like to introduce you to a new initiative called Couch to Sabbath. Couch to Sabbath is a time to learn and try out practices of Sabbath. During the 4 weeks between July 12th and August 9th, we're inviting you to learn and try out practice of Sabbath so that by the end of this initiative, many of us be able to live a life with a weekly Sabbath rhythm. During those 4 weeks, church will provide three things. First, we'll provide you teaching that includes today's sermon on Sabbath. And as far as the sermon goes, today's sermon is the only sermon that will be given on the topic of Sabbath, as we are actually starting new joint sermon series with Hierarch No Shore and Havel on racial justice. But we'll provide you resources to help you deepen understanding of biblical concept of Sabbath. And those resources will be available on our website later this week, and we'll also be happy to process those resources with you. The second thing we provide is coaching, because it's one thing to learn the concept, biblical concept. It's another thing to put into practice. So to aid you in that process, we'll have Couch to Sabbath workshop this coming week. There's going to be 6 different time slots. We'll have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, which is July 15th, 16th, 17th, at every day on those 3 days at noon and at 6 p.m. So there's 6 different sessions. And for more details and sign up, please click the link in the chat box. We will also provide the accountability opportunity through Sermon Triad and also check-in sessions in the week of 19th. That would be the week 3, so you might be losing steam. You might need a little extra push, so we can check in and keep you accountable for your effort. In addition, or mainly through the Sermon Triad, I hope that we'll be able to hold each other accountable with this Couch to Sabbath initiative. So the church will provide you 3 things, and we ask you to commit to one thing. We ask you to commit to get in a habit of catch a kairos. Kairos, what's kairos? Other name might be a God moment. It is derived from Mark 1:15. It's basically a moment when God is doing something to get your attention or to engage you. It might be a thought, or it might be experience. It might be something people say, or you read in the Bible, or you experience that says God is doing something in you and around you, something that reminds you that a God loves you, something that opens your eyes to God's amazing attributes that you didn't know. To help you get in the habit of catch a kairos moment, be able to identify when God is trying to get your attention or pointing you to something, we will send you kairos reminder every day at the end of the day. If you are already on daily devotion list, then you will, instead of morning devotion, now receive a kairos reminder. If you don't know what daily devotion list is, if you're not sure if you're on it, check your inbox, and if you don't receive email from Pastor John every morning, that means you're not on the list. So sign up from the link in the chat box now. Now, some of you may be thinking, well, actually, that's great. I'm going to do that, but I also want to get in a really established rhythm of weekly Sabbath. Great. Go ahead, design your weekly Sabbath and try it out. If you are not observing weekly Sabbath right now, then the first question you probably want to ask is, looking at your schedule, the question you ask is, what do you need to give up to create a space in your weekly schedule for Sabbath? That's the first thing you do. Just like you don't save the leftover, because you never get to save anything if you wait till your month is done. You set aside the saving first when you get a paycheck. Same thing with the Sabbath. You can't wait till everything is done to have enough space for Sabbath. You have to set aside a time for Sabbath. So let's look at your schedule first. Identify when, what can you give up, and now instead observe Sabbath in that spot. It doesn't have to be a whole day. It's easier to keep a track on a whole day, but it's easier to keep it at a fixed day or fixed time. And once you identify when that Sabbath going to be, you can figure out what will you do on your Sabbath to connect to God personally. And try out, because it's going to take, especially if you don't have that rhythm right now, it's going to take a couple trial and error. It takes a while for you to get in the habit. So give it a go, try it out, fail plenty times until you are going to have a lifestyle you are going to be able to live with a lifestyle with the weekly Sabbath. And that's our hope, right? Through learning and through trying out many things, I want all of us to have a lifestyle with a weekly Sabbath. Because when many of us in this community have that lifestyle, this is what's going to happen to our community. Yes, a bamboo forest. Grew up in Japan, one of the anecdotal lessons that we're always taught is when there's an earthquake, when there's a landslide, go find a bamboo forest and take refuge in there. Because the thing about bamboo, like each tree looks very thin and fragile, but they're actually pretty resilient, pretty strong. And another thing about bamboo is they go deep in the roots and intertwine with each other and keep the ground safe, keep the ground together. Even when the earth shakes, even when the land slides, bamboo roots in a bamboo forest keeps the ground safe and secure. Makes this resilient space. And I think that's what we need to become in this upcoming season. This community has been amazing. We have survived many challenges and uncertainties, and we're managing these uncertainties and challenges today. But the thing is, none of the things that we face today is going to go away. Racism is not going away tomorrow, and COVID is going to stay beyond next month, and our search for our future leader continues. We are continuing on into the season of more uncertainties and more challenges in this fall. And for us to follow God through this season, we want to become a resilient community. We want to become a bamboo forest that goes deeply rooted in a biblical teaching and intertwine our roots with each other, and always seeking sky high of who God is, right? Like we'll be always going upward growth to God. And I think for us to become a resilient community that's like a bamboo forest that's deeply rooted in biblical knowledge and conviction and seeking God upwards, growing towards the same direction, for us to become the community, I think actually does begin with many of us individually establishing strong connection with God and connecting to each other. And the growth, a strong connection with God and the spiritual growth, one of the thing that nurtures that and fortifies our connection with God is our regular, healthy spiritual rhythm that contains, and that I think that's cornerstone of that, or key of that lifestyle is the observing weekly Sabbath. Not in a sense of just rest and run away and escape from the reality, but in a sense that we have every week in a set time and space, we have each of us personally have a time and space to reconnect with God, to be reminded of how much we're loved and how amazing God is and how God is working in us and through us. And I believe with that, we become a strong, resilient patch of bamboo forest that will not be shaken, that will not be destroyed by any of the uncertainties and challenges ahead. And that's why we invite you to this Couch to Sabbath initiative this time. So then what do you do next? Now, first step is definitely to stay on and join the sermon triad. And also, especially if you don't know what's next, then sign up for Couch to Sabbath workshop this week. Again, the sign up link is in chat box. Also, circle back later this week on our website to check resources to deepen your understanding. And make sure you're on a daily devotion email list to receive daily Kairos reminder. At today's Sabbath sermon triad, which is going to serve as your Sabbath accountability group, first, kind of house business. Wait, what's that? House rules? No, whatever. Business that you want to take care of is make sure you exchange your contact information and set up how you're going to check in with each other next. Because that could be a online weekly meeting. It could be just like WhatsApp or Facebook chat group. It could be a I don't know if you guys feel comfortable. Maybe you guys can set a time and day that you go take a walk together. Whatever works for your group is great, but exchange your contact information and decide how you're going to check in with each other. Because this triad will probably not happen at Sunday service. For example, next week we have a joint service with other church, then we're not going to have triad time. And for the triad time that's going to happen in the following weeks in our service, we probably want to talk and unpack the sermon topic rather than talking about Sabbath idea. We're again starting a new series with Hierarch Noshore and Havel about racial justice. So there will be a lot to unpack with this group. So we want to set up separate time and space for you to check in with each other with Sabbath, Couch to Sabbath initiatives. So set up what works for you. Hope you get to figure that out. If you can't stay on the triad but would like to join one, let me know and I'll put you in a group. And I'll post I'll post the questions for Sermon Triad in a minute. Hope this all makes sense, and if you have questions, always contact me, and I hope we can all move together from Couch to Sabbath together as a community.